What if I told you that if you like this movie, then you should have also liked The Flash? Wait, hear me out. Hear me out. As long as I post this video on time, The Flash came out 1 year ago today.
You're too late, Alex. You're too late.
And it was unfortunately one of WB's biggest flops of 2023. It was definitely one of DC's biggest superhero flops ever. Now I can spend the whole video breaking down why it flopped, what went wrong, and how it went wrong. But instead, I'd like for us to just take a step back, revisit this film, and really just take a look at the story and see if it's actually good, how it's good, and how does this relate to it being compared to The Dark Knight. What's one of the biggest things we look forward to when going to see movies? The story, the plot. It's just human nature for us to crave good stories. And when it comes to films, there are many ways to tell a great story. But one man took a bunch of well-known knowledge when it comes to making stories, and he made his own basically blueprint for making a good story. That man is Dan Harmon. I'll spare you the deep explanation of Dan Harmon's storytelling circle. There are a bunch of other YouTube videos that do a way better job explaining it than I do, but that's just to give you context on what we will use to really dissect the Flash's story and determine if it's good or not. Without further ado, let's jump into this breakdown. The film starts with establishing our main protagonist, the U, Barry Allen. He is the fastest man alive, most times. And using his powers, he does what any other superhero does. He saves the day. Shortly after establishing our main protagonist, the next step was to establish the need for our character. The need is the conflict that drives him to the next part of the story. In this case, Barry is given two needs. His first initial need is to help prove his father's innocence.
My only official comment is that my dad is innocent.
Right. I mean, no one would want to believe that their father killed their mother.
In the midst of Barry trying to prove his father's innocence, he also discovers he has a new ability. He realizes that he can go back in time. And with him realizing this, it creates another need. Instead of just needing to prove his father's innocence, Barry feels the need to go back in time and fix everything. After discovering his new power, Barry has a conversation with Batman and says this.
I can fix things. You could also destroy everything.
I could save her. I could save both of them.
After establishing another need, it is time for our hero to go. Go is when you cross the threshold. This is where our protagonist sets out on their journey to get what they need. This is also them crossing over into the chaos realm of things. In this case, it's Barry going backwards in time. Barry goes back in time, stops his mom from dying, stops his dad from going to prison, and fixes everything. Mission accomplished, right? Yeah, no. Next we have Search, the Road of Trials. This is where our protagonist is faced with constant roadblocks that get in the way of getting what they want. Barry's knocked into a different part of the past where he can't return to his time. He ends up stuck with a time paradox version of himself, he loses powers, etc., etc. Every time he tries to make things right, they end up becoming worse. It keeps getting worse to the point where the entire world ends up in danger.
My name is General Zod. I come from a world far from yours.
Find. Meeting the Goddess. This is where our protagonist gets what they want, but not exactly the way they want it. Barry has found a way to finally get himself back home after having saved his parents, but now with the whole world being in danger, he needs to find a way to save it in order to guarantee their survival.
Tell me something. If you get your powers back, you can go anywhere. You've got another timeline, another universe. Why do you want to stay and fight to save this one?
Because this is the world where my mom lives.
Take. Paying the price. With the protagonist so close to getting what they want, they can't help but just take it. Unfortunately, this usually comes by paying a price, but it can't just hurt. It has to be devastatingly soul-crushing. With Barry so close to finally getting what he's always wanted, him and others charge in the battle with Zod, but the battle doesn't go their way at all. In fact, Batman dies and Supergirl dies, repeatedly. This leads to Return. Our protagonist has returned from the Chaos Realm, but he is different than before he entered. They are changed by their experiences from the second act, and they also have a new need. Barry returns to the Chrono Bowl now understanding that not every problem has a solution. You can't always fix things.
You know that I have to undo what I did. No, it's not a mistake. We can save her. And we can save them. No, we can't. Not every problem has a solution.
Problem has a solution.
Change. This is where the final showdown typically happens, and we have to visually see the change in our character. In this case, you think this fight is the change, right? But no, in this case, Barry has to go back and undo what he did to save his mom. Remember, during the go phase, he changed time and saved her. Now that he has changed, he has come to terms with her death and learned to let her go.
Love you, Mom. Love you more. I loved you first.
Now that we've broken down the story using Dan Harmon's story circle, how does this all relate to The Dark Knight? Well, in case you haven't figured it out yet, The Dark Knight actually uses the story circle as well. You guys know the person who made The Dark Knight was Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan actually uses that same story circle in a lot of his films. I'm pretty sure he's used it in pretty much probably all of his movies. He uses it a little differently though. In Interstellar, he uses it twice because it's a very long movie. It's not every film follows this template or blueprint or whatever, but there are a lot of great films that do, and I think The Flash is genuinely a good film. I do. I enjoy the film. I think it's good, and I think it has a great story. You may have hated the CGI, you may have reserved feelings for the actor that played Flash, but one thing I hope we can all agree on is that Christina Hodson wrote a really great screenplay for this film. Let me know down in the comments if you agree or disagree with them. I'm about to head out of here, but before I go, I gotta let you guys know. I appreciate you all for coming through. Make sure to subscribe if you're new, and always remember that you belong with this crew, and I'll see all you guys in the next video. Peace, y'all.